When it comes to real estate, location is everything. This morning's guest has a great resource. Meet him, coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the family-owned and operated Ace Hardware on Kings Highway between 76th and 79th Avenues North in Northwoods Plaza here in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on the amazing Leo Van Veen and all of his little tentacles out there, and we're visiting with the man himself. Hey, Leo.
Hi, Greg.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
You know, all week, obviously, thinking about nonprofit activities and goings-on here in town, and then the opportunity to have you break the week up right here on a Wednesday morning. It's great to have you in.
It's great to be here.
What about this Ace Hardware?
I've shopped here a couple of times before, and they have an amazing assortment.
Yeah.
Because from the outside, they say, well, it's just a little hardware store, but people should come in.
You get inside here, and it goes on and on and on. Folks can't quite get a feel of that.
Right.
And actually, you live close by, don't you?
I live in Pine Lakes, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Very close by.
Renovated an old house there, and we bought many a piece out of this store.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How did you decide on Pine Lakes, Leo?
Basically, because of the development plans that Boris and Chapin announced.
Right.
And I like to piggyback on good projects.
Yeah, sure.
Because if it rains in their spot, it trickles on mine.
And you guys did it right up there, I remember.
Yeah.
Are you originally from the area, Leo?
No.
Not that I couldn't tell it from your accent, but I thought I'd have to ask.
Originally, I'm from Eener. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm from the Netherlands.
From the Netherlands?
Yeah, I grew up about 20 miles south of Amsterdam.
Is that right?
The city of sin.
The city of sin. Yeah, we've heard that about Amsterdam. That and Vegas. That's right. But it's a lot more sin happening in Amsterdam, I'm afraid. Do they legalize drug use in Amsterdam?
Certain drugs, yeah. Marijuana, hash.
Right.
They are very, very lenient. It's an interesting development. Holland used to be an ultra-Orthodox country, very Protestant in the northern part and very Catholic in the southern part. And in the 60s, in the mid-60s, and I was part of that whole process, the flower movement blew over the Atlantic, and we also got the sexual revolution coming out of Scandinavia. And that sort of blew all the stops out.
Right.
And now everything goes. Euthanasia is legal.
Euthanasia is legal in the Netherlands?
In the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands.
You have the gay marriages fully accepted, and then there's some drug acceptance. They did that to quell the crime associated with drugs. Mm-hmm. How successful that was, nobody really knows,
right.
Because it is in a certain atmosphere, drugs, and it attracts negative influences. You know. Also in 1975, we gave independence to our last colony, which was Suriname, Dutch Guyana.
Right.
And that is a neighboring country to Colombia, South America. We know what that country is famous for.
Oh, yeah.
So half the population of Suriname fled to Holland, and they took all their connections with Colombia with them.
So that is seeped in as well.
That's seeped in.
Wow.
But
you still have family in the Netherlands?
Oh, yeah. I have two brothers who are still living, a younger sister, and I have a sister in Germany.
Is that right?
In my days, they had big families.
So is that are you right in the middle of
right
five?
In the middle.
You're right in the middle of five.
I was neither meat nor fish.
And you've got some family down in the still in the islands down. Of course, that's a little later in life.
I still have a daughter and two grandchildren in the island of Aruba.
Of Aruba, yes. Growing up in the Netherlands, did you always think you were going to get out of there and end up on this side of the world, or did you ever contemplate just staying there like your two brothers?
Yeah, it never really crossed my mind until I met my first wife, who was from Aruba.
Is that right?
And even then, I really didn't have a burning desire to leave Holland. But she was an only child. Her dad was a widower, and then we got 2 children. And Grandpa started pulling and pulling. So I said, okay, I'll go for a couple of years. Yeah. Well, that turned out to be 27 years.
No, you were 27 years in Aruba.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And the neighboring island, Curacao.
Curacao, yes. I don't think I knew you were down there that long, Leo. You
yeah.
kept your youth. Yeah, I'm trying to add all those together.
I spent about the first 30 years in Holland, the second almost 30 years in the islands, and hopefully the last 30 years, if I get that all,
here in the Palmetto
in
State.
the US of A. Yeah,
and of course,
I love it here, Greg.
Yeah, I know you do. And your now bride, of course, has ties to Brunswick and New Hanover County.
Yeah.
And then, and y'all met in what year? You and Peggy met?
We met in '84.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Courted for 7 years.
We had a long-distance relationship between San Antonio and Aruba for 7 years. It took me that long for her to marry me.
You were trying.
And I'm a pretty good salesman.
You were trying for 7 years. Yeah.
And then we got married on 1/1/91.
Right.
People always ask me, how long have you been married? And I say, well, it's 16 years, 7 months, and 22 days, because it's a cheap trip.
Oh, yeah, sure. An easy one to remember. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. How did you and Peggy meet, Leo?
We were both in a place where we were not supposed to be.
Ooh, wow.
But it's all above board. And I was in the hotel business then, and I ran a resort. And there was a tour operator from Dallas who wanted to start flying charters into Aruba direct.
Right.
And I was the secretary of the hotel board in those days.
The local hotel board there in Aruba.
Yeah.
Really? Great.
And so we had a meeting with that lady, and she says, we need help. I need promotion. Can some of your hoteliers come over, and the Minister of Tourism, if possible. So we put a delegation together. And I told my salesman, he said, I'm going to Texas. I've never been there. And you run the hotel. Well, I'm gone for a couple of days. And Peggy had a event company. Did big events in San Antonio, which is
San Antonio,
a big convention town anyhow.
Oh, yeah.
And she had a friend who said, hey, there is a promotion tonight on the island of Aruba. You want to go? And she said, yep, why not? So I had my little desk there, and I was handing out brochures, and it was at the end of the program. And in trips little Miss Peggy.
Right, yeah.
And I looked at her and said, that's it.
This was in '84.
It was in '84.
Yeah.
So
you said that's the one?
That's the one.
Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Love at first sight?
Still the one.
Well, I know, of course, she's still the one, but 23 years later, but love at first sight.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a great ride with that woman.
That's fabulous. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. How exciting.
You know her.
Oh, we love Peggy Van Veen, of course, and love saying Van Veen out of that rolls off the tongue very well. And of course, Peggy has a business very close here to Ace, right down Kings Highway. Is it 67, 69?
69.
69?
Resources Inc.
Resources Inc. And what prompted that, her to open Resources?
I've never seen a person with more energy than my wife.
Yeah.
Unless it's housekeeping. Yeah. But she always wants to do new things, and that's what we have in common. And she was, we had a new company on the islands once we married, was a purchasing service, and then we discovered that people couldn't get real good kitchen cabinets there, so we started importing that. And then here she bumped into a gentleman who had a business like that in Durham.
Durham, North Carolina. Okay, sure. Russell Barringer, yeah, that's exactly right. Of course, West Durham Lumber.
Yeah,
I know it well.
So she worked with and for him for a couple of years and got involved in the kitchen business. And then one day she came home and she said, guess what? I said, tell me. I resigned. I said, great. Yeah. It's about time, so we can start doing some fun stuff together. She said, no, I'm going to do a new business. I got it all figured out. And she came with a concept, and I was amazed when she told me. She had it all worked out, never said a word about it. She had a one-stop shopping store for people who are either remodel or build a new house. Yes,
right.
She doesn't do the frilly stuff like furniture and curtains and knickknacks and stuff, but she does flooring, she does cabinets, she does countertops. She has a fabulous countertop product that she has the dealership for from here to Wilmington to Charleston.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's quite a revolutionary product. She sells elevators, metal foam doors, you name it.
Is there anything else like that here in this area, Leo? Is she one of a kind? Yeah, I've never heard of anything like that. That's a brilliant idea.
Plus, she has a great kitchen designer.
Oh yeah,
and a great installation team. So she designs, orders, and sells and installs.
That is fantastic. A real one-stop shop. Resources Inc. right down there on 69th Avenue. Well, of course, in reading a little bit about your time there in Aruba, you said 27 years there.
27 years.
20 there and in the adjacent islands.
Right.
Back in 1976, there was a fascinating involvement in kicking off the first Caribbean timeshare, but then even a little later, reading about something you did in the late 80s. Share with viewers what that was like, kicking off that 250-suite luxury resort there in Aruba.
Yeah, that's... it was in December of 87, the 15th of December. I pulled the same stunt on what wasn't my wife then yet, but said, I quit. I come home. I said, I quit. She said, good. What are you going to do? I said, nothing. And
you pulled this on Peggy back then.
Yeah. And the next day I got a phone call from one of my co-board members of the Hotel Association, and he said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm starting a new company with my wife, maybe, but not anytime soon. He said, well, I have a guy from Tampa, Florida, and you need to talk to him. I said, about? He said, we're going to do a new resort. He said, I don't think so. He said, do me a favor. There is a ticket for you at the airport. Go to Miami. He'll meet you there. Do it for me, he said, and talk to the man.
Wow.
So I talked to this gentleman, and he said, I want to do a 200 to 250 room hotel. I want to do a 50,000 square foot shopping center.
50,000 square foot shopping center.
I want a casino, and I want a marina. Can you help me? And it's, well, what is your problem? He said, well, I know the Prime Minister real well. He said, I did too. He studied in the same town I grew up. Yeah. And he said, but I can't get the land. He said, well, I can look out for you. He said, and another detail, I can't get the hotel to cash flow. I said, well, that's a more serious problem. I said, is it going to be a convention hotel? He said, yeah, well, what else? I said, have you looked at timeshare? He said, no, never. That's not something I wanted. He said, okay. I had a Coke or something, and I had a napkin, and I started scribbling 250 times 50 weeks in the year, and did some numbers and so forth. I said, if you could cash out $40 million out of your hotel, would you be interested? He said, how? Yeah. So I did quick numbers, and he said, you can do that? I said, well, I've done it 4 times before.
Yeah, right. You've just been doing it for years.
And, so we made a deal, and I flew back to the island and said, I'll see what I can do for you.